With the drought breaking in winter of 2010, all the lakes in Western Victoria filled virtually overnight. This left Victorian fisheries with the urgent job to restock the lakes. Fisheries moved mountains and actually got trout into the lakes in November of 2010, and today, some 12 months later, the results have been nothing short of amazing. My approach today is going to be to troll lofties cobras. A lot of anglers think trolling for trout is nothing more than just casting a lure out the back, trolling around the lake. There's a little bit more to it than that. If you want to be successful, you really need to know just what you're doing and how you're catching fish. The southern shore area here of Lake Bolak's an ideal place to start your trolling run. Averages between about 1.5 and 2.5 metres deep, so it's not very deep at all. When you're trolling these shallow lakes like Lake Bolak, 13 gram lofties cobra is an ideal choice. The whole lake is only about, or probably only averages about 2.5 metres of depth, so it's really, really shallow. One of the problems you've got with that is you've got motor noise. Shallow lakes, it really amplifies the motor noise and really affects the fish. And the one thing that we've found, you've got to troll well back. We're talking 60, 70, 80 metres back. Now you can't cast a lure that far back even off one of these rods, so sort of a bit of a complicated problem. When you're trolling, you're just going to have to try to throw the lure back as far as you can, which I reckon with the wind it's gone about 50 metres. Now I can't just let it back so it'll to 80 metres because it's going to sink to the bottom and snag up. There's a lot of weed in the lake. As soon as you get a little bit of weed on the lure, you won't catch fish. So you're just going to have to feather. There's a bit of setting up to it. So just feather the lure back. May take about 5 minutes at times just to get that extra. There you go. See, I've hit the bottom already. And that's what you don't want. So I'll have to bring that in. But I can't overemphasise the need to get your lures well back away from the boat. Best lure colours in Lake Bolak. I'm using a pink or a red. And of course, because the lake's full of galaxids, something in a white, something like this number 60 works equally as well. Now you can see here that lure's set. Now the idea is you're just going to have to try to slowly let it out that extra 20 metres without having the lure drop an extra metre or two and pick up the bottom. Oh, here we go, we've got one on. Feels like a solid fish, and that's well back too. That was interesting because it was just hit it just as I was feathering it back a little bit. There was still a bit of action there. Fish in here are running, I think, between about a kilo and, oh, they're fit too. And if you're lucky, probably, well, up to 3, maybe a bit over. And this is only a small fish for the lake. Here we go. Oh, what a cracker. Now that's a small fish. That is, in all honesty, a small fish for the lake, but it's probably still going to be well over a kilo. Look at the colours on it. It's just beautiful. Now this guy's just taken that number 24 lofties. Seems to be a hot colour this year in this lake. And obviously the lake's only just filled. So I'm learning every day as to what's working. When the lake filled and flooded in July, August of 2010, it overflowed down a dry salt creek to the Hopkins River system. This triggered a once-in-a-lifetime response migration of perhaps 250,000 galaxids from that Hopkins system up the Salt Creek and into the lake to feed on the prolific new food booming in the flooded lake. The water receded in October of 2010, trapping the galaxids in the lake. Fisheries then stocked their 5,000 rainbows in November, weighing about 75 grams each at the time. Now, only 11 months later, some of those trout are over 4 kilos. Now that's stunning. Now what I've done here is I've purposely cast out and just let the lure fall, free fall, trying to let line out, let it out to that 80 metre mark. And as I said, if you just do it that way and just free spool it and let it drop down, it can do one of two things. It can obviously go all the way to hit the bottom, snag up, and then you're not going to catch any fish, or it'll do what this has done, and because you're allowing it to free fall, the single hook, there we go, will foul up, and I'll just set it up again there, and it'll just fall on itself. The lure will still work. You're not really going to know that it's not working properly, but you've just free spooled the line, allowed the lure to fall in on itself, and it's just fouled up on the hook, like so. And obviously you won't catch any trout like that. So with these cobras, when you're fishing them, cast them out and you've got to control that drop back. Just metre at a time, let it out a metre, get the lure working again, another metre, working again, another metre, and just control it. So there's a little bit to it, especially in these shallow lakes. The other thing I like to do too when I'm trout trolling is actually monitor where I am on the lake and depth of water. As you can see here, we're in about only 2 metres of water, so there's a few factors that we have to take into account when we're trolling in a lake that shallow. The other important thing, as you can see here, this is my troll lines. Every time I catch a fish, I mark it. It's amazing, even on a lake, how you forget where you've caught a trout. And quite often, where you catch one, you'll catch more. So as we progress on the day, we'll see how many of these marks we get, how close they are together, and just how concentrated those troll lines will get. There we go. Oh. That's a good one. That's a better fish. Still going too. Fit, fat and angry. He's running back towards the boat now. Fit, strong fish. With this braid, you've got to be a little bit forgiving. Nowhere near as much stretch as with mono, so these fish can be that big. Some of the fish here have been 4 kilos. Not that we've been that lucky today. But I've got to say, they're certainly zoned in on these Lofty's cobras, and not only that, just 2 or 3 particular colours. Nice fish. Fish that's been in here just for 12 months is just amazing. He's all right. Now look at this, look how fat this fish is. Just under 12 months in the lake. Compliments of all those galaxids that migrated up from the Hopkins River when the lake flooded, filled and flooded. And this fish probably went in 11 months ago at 75 grams. I'd say if we weighed it, it's going to be 2 kilos plus, just over the 4 pound mark. Big, fat, lovely hen rainbow. Careful. And it's nailed that cobra at 24 pink and black colour. It's been hot here for about 2 weeks. Great fish, great lure, great result. We'll let this girl go. Someone else can catch her. Now I reckon if we're lucky enough and we came back here in 12 months' time, who knows what size this guy'd be. They could be some fish, seriously big rainbow trout then. They'd be well over 5 kilos or 10 pound on the old scale. It's a pretty standard way to rig a Lofty's cobra. Line straight through the lure. Bead. And in this case, I just used a little snap. So it's all pretty standard. Some people use a split ring here. Sometimes others will just go straight to the hook, but I'd prefer to have the hook swing a little bit. And I find these little snaps work just fine. Cobras are a very versatile lure and they can take a wide range of troll speeds. The 13 gram lures that we're using here will run between about 2.4 kilometres an hour up to a maximum of 3.6. And as you can see on the screen here, I'm running at about 2.9 to 3 to 3.1 kilometres an hour. So you can see here to get a bit more action in the lures. In a minute, I reckon we'll be up to about 3.5. And today the fish we've caught, we've got a few on the turn. We've actually caught a couple when we've been holding a rod and actually giving it a bit of extra crank, a bit of extra speed. So they've been on the higher end of the scale. Nice fish. Oh, could have netted him in the air. Oh, yeah, just keep him down a bit. What's he taking there? You've got one of those wide wing lofties cobras on there. I have, yes. How fit are they? As good a rainbow trout as you want anywhere. Oh. That's another cracker. No, good on you.
Good job.
Now he's a nice rainbow. Another very important tip when you're fishing with lofties cobras in any lake, doesn't matter where, is don't troll for an hour or 2 hours without checking your lure. In this case it's fine, but quite often, especially if you've trolled for something like 30 minutes and you've not got a fish or a hit, you may have done something wrong. It may have been as simple as a bit of weed on the lure, but certainly check your lures just to see they're right and reset them. Now we've been trolling now for about an hour and haven't had a hit, so we need to do something different. So all we're going to do now is just hand hold the rods. Believe it or not, it makes a heap of difference. What it does, simply the fact that you're hand holding your rod, you'll drop it back, you'll move it, the lure will just move around the water a little bit more, speed up, slow down. Whoa, heck. Hop up on there, slow down, yeah. Just keep him under the water. Just swim him under. How fat is that? How good is that? That fish, that's just been monstering those galaxids in this lake. Now that fish in any other lake would be a kilo, I guess. And I'd say that's 2 kilos there. Fat as. Good fish. Best rainbow trout you've caught?
I would say so.
Magnificent. And barely been in the lake 12 months. And it's just been gorging on these galaxids that have come in. It's Bill Klassen here from The Fishing Show, and if you like this instructional video and want to learn more, it's simple. Go to fishingshowtv.com.au and see a whole host of additional videos.